Whoa, thank you, Angel, and Heidi. Hello, everyone. Welcome aboard. It is a wet and windy Tasmania from which I come to you this day, which, of course, is Hump Day. And hope you're having a fantastic Hump Day so far. And hope that continues throughout and into the rest of the week. Okay, let's check we're still in pound US dollar breakout from yesterday. You'll not be surprised to hear, I'm sure. Given that we have had a breakout day yesterday, very, very much so. In particular, the dollar has now got some fans, and I noticed that it has broken through a resistance level, and I would expect that that will continue. Getting a breather in that's going to be the hard part, and actually getting a trade on board. I have got one. I traded Aussie dollar this morning, and I'll show you that one very, very shortly. But at the moment, we are looking at the pound. Now, there will be no breakout trade on the pound today. Why? Well, because what are we breaking out of? It's already broken, and it's broken substantially. So we are trailing at the moment. We entered the market at 138.20. So we're now, 140 odd pips to the good and trailing two seller bars. Now, the current seller bar is solo because it's been interrupted by a buying bar here. We have to wait now for another one before we can move our stop loss. So those of you who don't know how to trail this, or the way that we are trailing it in this particular trailing strategy. Hi, Lewis. Hi, Paul P. How are we doing? We are trading. Once we get into the market, we take our first take profit, which was where yesterday? Would have been here, maybe. Yep. Here was our first take profit area. All these lines are now mixed up because we've gone from goodness knows where. I'll get rid of them. And our second take profit was there, 137.72. Yes. That was our second take profit, and that's now, of course, gone. Once we hit our second take profit, we then trail two bars, two consecutive seller bars. So we've been trailing since here, and we put our stops here. We then move our stops to there, interruption there. Once that one was formed, we move our stop to there. Then we moved our stop to there, to there, to there, and to there, which is where it currently is. If we get another seller bar, and I'm not too sure that can be the case, frankly. I think we need to have a little bit of a pause here at some stage, but never say never. You know, whilst they're buying the US dollar and getting into it in big licks by the looks of things, we may well be in for some ride here. I struggle to find the best way to trade that, frankly. I finished up with the Aussie US dollar. And the reason for that was twofold. One, and Lewis is in the room. I think it was Lewis you were pointing out yesterday or even Monday that you liked the shape of the head and shoulders. And we agreed with that. But I was also thinking that if that didn't pay off or didn't come off, then there would be an entry above this bar here long. Obviously, at this point, that hasn't materialized. As far as my entry strategy is concerned, and you guys will know that I do not trade seller bars short, except in this particular circumstance. And the reason is, yes, I like the head and shoulders also. If that's the case, that's the neckline. Neckline's been broken, and normally I would wait for a retest of that neckline before I entered the market. However, those of you who know the slingshot and have done my slingshot dominator course, you will know that that is a dominator break of a trade line. Forget the head and shoulders, forget everything else. That is a dominator break. So entry here, it's a very wide stop loss. It's above both the monthly pivot and the weekly pivot. And the reason for that is that's the strategy. We've got to take a big stop loss if we're trading dominators because they tend to pull back. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if this pulls back to the trade line here. Maybe even the trend line, which is going to cut through there. So that's completely possible. There's a nice confluence area there, and our stop loss is not far from that level, to be honest. So I'm hoping that won't be the case. If we do hit the daily pivot and get a rejection bar here, then I will actually scale into this, even though I haven't got first profit. And the reason for that is I haven't gone in here with all guns blazing. It's a small stake entry. So I'll go through what the alternative to that was very, very shortly. I thought there were two trades that were going to be very, very similar today. One was this one, and the other was Euro Aussie. Thought it'd be pretty much the same trade. And you can see this was a magnificent dominator break. The dominator is just what I call the entry strategy, that's all. And you'll recall last week that we were very, very keen on getting into this long based on these two bars here, or more correctly, on this bar here on the weekly chart, which was at the bottom of this longer term ascending channel. I'm sure you'll all recognize that. If I go to the monthly chart, you'll see it even clearer. Very, very good place to find a bounce, and that looks like it may well be happening at this point. We did enter here long last week, Euro Aussie. I think we got a TP1, didn't we? We got a TP1 barely, that's right, and then it went straight back and took our trading stop for a break-even trade. And we were looking to trade the higher low, which was this bar here. And that's where we entered the market. As I said, we got a quick TP1 and then bang goes your mangoes. But look what's happened since. With that breakout yesterday, it has really converted that into something. I didn't take this trade this morning, but I thought there was certainly the opportunity to aggregate your risk over this one, Euro Aussie and and Aussie US dollar. I thought, despite the fact that it was a cross, it was very much the same trade. Problem with this one was that we had the monthly pivot ahead, and I thought the reward to risk on that trade was pretty much up to putty, so we didn't take that one. I think a break of the monthly pivot now, and maybe a pullback to daily pivot would get me interested long, but I'm a little bit wary on this one until we do get that significant higher low. We've got a double bottom sitting here now. That higher low, maybe if it comes back to the daily pivot, I think would be worth tracking. Those two were the only two that I really was interested this morning, based on the slingshot scenario, which was a dominator here, dominator break of a trade line. If you want to know what I'm talking about, a dominant break of a trade line is what I like to trade in certain circumstances, not in all circumstances. But the circumstances here were okay. And a dominant break of a trade line for me also coincides with the break of a range, which we saw. And we also have beautiful frequency of test here. So it means to me that this trade line is absolutely perfect to trade. And that's why I would consider entering here. But if I put my stop loss, I've really got to get it underneath the weekly pivot, and the risk to reward to an untested monthly pivot just wasn't worth it. So a pullback required here to get into the market. And I think that's very much the case in most of the currencies that I'm really looking to trade. Two things before Ash comes in. I will go and have a look at, I think there are two remaining currencies, and really, you know, I think we spoke about this on Monday, what a week it might be for we range traders. No, they just said, no, stuff you. I'm breaking the ranges, and they did very, very quickly yesterday. So I think we've got two that are left. Our dollar sing is one. And I'm looking at the 4-hour chart there where we have come back to the top of this range. Look, with the strength in the dollar, I'm going to find that very, very difficult to trade short, I've got to say, at this point. That said, if I do get the setup, I will certainly do that, because this will be a short-term play only, not a long-term play. And if we do come off the top, or even if we break through the top, come back underneath and retest it, which I don't think will happen. I think this is destined for higher highs. I would look to trade that back to the pivots before taking some profit, and then maybe an extension down to the bottom of the range. And there I shall look for an entry long. The other one, I think that we were looking at from Monday as well, is pound Swissy. Now, pound Swissy is interesting because if you were watching my video analysis this morning, you would have noted on the 4-hour chart I was talking about, or was it? No, it must have been the daily chart. Let me go a bit tighter. Where the heck is it? I was pointing out something. Oh, there it is. I was pointing out something this morning. This bar here. Again, if you know how I trade, I like to trade these bars long. I don't like to trade bullish bar long, but turn it black. That's the candle I want to trade. But it wasn't a higher low, and really I needed some separation from this double bottom and the top here to come back and give us the higher low. That could well be under formation currently, and if it were, I would look to trade that. But if it's a white bar, I won't be. So this potential higher low here won't really interest me. What would interest me, however, would be if price were to either come to there, or if that does become a low, and we can use that as a trade line, although it's a bit acute. If we came underneath that, or underneath that, found the support level, or even pierced through that support level, picked up all the stop losses, got back above here and retested it, then I would look to trade it long. In particular, if it got back inside the range. This range, of course, quite clear to me. Same here, under, back above, retest, long. So that's what I'll be looking for. That really is all I'm interested in at the moment. Everything else, as I said, has shot through. You'll remember we were trying to trade the range on Kiwi CAD. Yeah, right. That's not happening. Euro Swiss, exactly the same. This is interesting, actually, because we have broken out of that descending channel. My thought process is not 100% clear, however, and I do like to trade ABC trades. So the thing that haunts me a little bit is this bar here. Yes, we did have a break, but you remember what I call a dominant break, Euro Aussie, right? See the big break of that trade line and the close on the high came from its boots to its head, right? It's everything's bullish about that. Compare that to also just looking at Euro Swissy, and you can see that more of a spinning top and certainly uncertainty to the bottom, certainly uncertainty, yeah, okay, and uncertainty to the top side. Then we got a little retest, little rejection of that level. So that does give me a little bit of a bullish outlook. But since then, we've gone into consolidation. And my preference here now, I think, would be, because we really haven't been to the bottom of that, what I call a range. I think if we came back inside here now, got underneath the pivots and retested that confluence area, I would love to get short this one, Euro Swissy. So that's kind of where I'm at with Euro Swissy at the moment. I do see the potential for the ABC long, but I think that's a little bit risky because we do have a horizontal level coming through there as well. So I'll be watching that one. Even on the hourly charts, if we came underneath that area, so back under here and retested the confluence, then I think that would be a worthy contestant for a short. So I'll be looking at that one very, very closely. Aussie CAD has gone. We were looking to trade that shorts, and we didn't get the opportunity to do that on Monday. It broke out of the trend, came back underneath it, but we didn't get our retest bar. If we got our retest bar, we could have been into that, but no, wasn't going to allow it. Aussie Kiwi, this is the sad story of or one of the sad stories of the week, where we did point out on Thursday that this would be eminently tradable with this little retest, this one here, which was in the rejection bar also. And you can see that it closed pretty much bang on the trend line or the trade line. So that entry that we kind of considered and what was going to take, actually, I had the order written out, and it's actually on my sheet. Buy at 108.47 with a stop loss at 107.40. Why I didn't trade it? I just got distracted, I guess. And that has shot through, so it's untradeable at the moment. There's no long, no short there. Would need a decent pullback to get into it. Same could be said of pound Kiwi. I suppose the good part about pound Kiwi, and we did forecast this one as well. This was an excellent scale in point, because we've been free trading this for quite some time. We got into it down here, 3 weeks ago. And this was the scaling point that we've been looking for right here. You could have traded it from there if you wanted, but more to my liking at this level. When I say more to my liking, the high was slightly higher than this one, or your entry, you had to get your entry above there. So it was a breakout of that range. So a little bit on the risky side, but, you know, we're free trading it. We could have risked a little bit going back into the can. This is on its way. I really believe that we've got a good shot at this one now. And this goes back to that tweezer bottom that I spoke about, month and a half ago. And that has played out beautifully at this point. We're now back inside that range. I would expect a retest of that, right? So at some stage, this will pull back. I'm not sure when, not sure how or why, but that's, again, where I'll look to scale back into it. So that's pound Kiwi. The only other one that is still in the market is Euro CAD. And Euro CAD, we have now been in for 2 months and about 10 days, or maybe 12 days, I think it is. And we're still in positive swap territory. Stops are at break even. We're taking 2 lots of profits. This looks like it could do the job for us as well. The one thing I would say, however, is expect some pullback from here. How far? Maybe even back to that black line I probably would expect. But if that were the case, then I'd certainly be looking to scale back into that as well. It's got a lot of work to do now, because this trend line is substantial. We do have the hint of an ascending triangle there as well. So it's going to want to try and break to the high side. But the thing that we saw 2.5 months ago has played out. Maybe if you want to take some profit here, it wouldn't be such a bad idea, because there will be pullback here, I do believe. If there's not, then look out. This could go really, really, really long way, even beyond where I thought my target would be. So that's about it from my point of view. We do have Ainsley coming in about 15 or 20 minutes time, but Ash has joined us. What's the late mail, buddy? How you going?
Hi, mate.
Put your microphone down, mate.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Yes, I'm doing all right, mate. I'm doing all right. I was just seeing if I could get something on a trade here, just for a Nasdaq long, but I'm struggling. Oh, okay, they're not allowing that. Okay, fine.
Nasdaq long? That doesn't sound like you.
Well, no. I'm just seeing whether I can. Yeah, sorry, mate. I've got another. Here we go. Maybe I can do it on this.
You're right. You want me to?
No, I should be okay now.
You're okay.
Should be okay. That's that there, and that's that there. Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, that was badly planned. Okay. All right, no big deal. No big deal. Okay, so
got a decent breakout on the pound, mate.
Oh, okay. So, let's have a look at that. Sorry, mate. I might need to clear this. 1 second. Oh, that should be all right. That should be all right. Yeah, I'll have to leave that, I think. Yeah.
I'll keep going if you want, mate.
Yeah, just give me 2 shakes here. I think I've made a bit of an error here.
Okay, we don't want you to make errors. That's not a good thing when you're in this show, and it's so easily done. You know, you're trying to talk and it just gets all fuddly duddly. And euro dollar. Let's have a look at euro dollar. Now, we didn't quite make it to the confluence area, which is where I was just bursting my. Oh no, I won't say that. Bursting my my something to go short. And yeah, like everything else, the range has just gone kabang, and they've smashed through it. I don't see anything to do here at the moment, unless we do get a pullback to the daily pivot, maybe on the smaller time frames, and that looks unlikely at this point, because I think once they get a sniff on the dollar or against the dollar, they tend to just go with it for 24 hours, 48 hours. And I say this all the time, and it is very pertinent as far as I'm concerned. Once that happens, once that decision is made, once that decisive break has taken place, it is not uncommon for the daily pivot just to be totally ignored, because the momentum's so strong that anybody who had an inkling that the dollar was going to rally will jump on board now, and they'll be buying it up, no question in my mind. If you have a look at the dollar index, for instance, and it's got a little bit of work to do yet, don't worry, but it has broken out of this range again for the second time. But this is much stronger, in my view, than it was last time. It's having a little bit of an issue with this trend line, as it will, and maybe there might be some short-term pullback. But if that's the case, I think this is a buying opportunity now. This is now strong, and I think they mean business. And we have now created a new high based on that previous one. So I think, we now may go into trend here for some time. Not sure how long, but, 94, 95 is definitely on the radar here, I would have thought. We seem to be through this level here. So we're probably headed up here somewhere into the 94, 95 zone. So, yeah, I think now I'm prepared to say that dollar bulls are just about to win the arm wrestle. You winning, Ash?
No, I've made a bit of an error here, mate. I am going to.
Okay, fix it up. Ainsley, you're in the room, yeah? Come have a chat.
Yeah, that Nasdaq has gone long, but you know what? I was flipping on another direction. So I'll show you what I was trying to do here, and you can see where the mistake.
As long as you're sorted.
I don't think it's too bad. I think I'm going to be able to clear this out, but it's not an issue. Let me just I will bring you my, because I think it's sometimes worth talking through mistakes. I think it'd be okay.
Absolutely.
So let me show you what and where the mistake has been made here. Okay, so what I was looking for was along with this Nasdaq. Actually, might be able to. Let me do that just so it's ready. Yeah, I was looking for along with this Nasdaq, but at the same time, I was going to take. Good morning, Lewis. I was going to take a short in the IBEX. So if we look at where this is going to, where I was trying to get this on. So trying to go long here at 1342 on the Nasdaq. And here, and then going short with the Spanish one here, which is, the fact that hasn't really moved shows that we'd already be in profit. And I wanted to just kind of like, it's almost hedging out the global risk, if you like, of a potential Nasdaq short as well. But the thing with it is that you have to get the calculations right when you put your percentages on. Now I haven't got it on this one. I've got it on my other system. So I've put on my short on the Spanish one, which is in play, but the percentage that I've put on is too high. So now I am the margin risk is too wide, so I'm not going to place this other one. But what I'm going to hopefully be able to do here, let me just see what that low there is. Yeah, what I'm going to be able to do here is close this off. And I won't try and make money out of the Spanish one for a short at all. I'm just going to close this one off just so just so I can save the mistake, because you've got to get the calculation right. And sometimes they put them into how much. You will notice that every dollar isn't worth a dollar when you trade a currency. You know, they're all worth something slightly different. You know, because you get the exchange rate aspect involved in it. And sometimes you get an exchange rate, and some providers just do you pound for pound, if you like. Now, unfortunately, this Axie does it with the exchange rate, but the other one I'm using is pound
We
for
wouldn't have
pound.
a need for it, really, would we, if that was the case?
Oh, it'd be so much easier. Yeah, if they all did it. And the other one's a lot easier to do, actually, but because I was kind of like in making a calculation on Axie, because I was going to do the trade on both of them. And then I flipped to a pound. I've miscalculated. So currently I've got a trade in the market which is uncovered, and I didn't really want that. So what I'm just gonna clear it out. I'm just gonna close this position and go for it again tomorrow. So I guess the lesson is try and get your calculations in before you place any of the positions. And that's the thing about hedging. You know, that the hedge trade is like doing a currency cross. You know, because the currency cross is kind of done for you. What you're effectively saying is, if I'm trading the pound dollar long, then I am long the pound and short the dollar, and you can do that same trade with other things. So I'm doing it with indices, long Nasdaq, short Spanish 35, and the reason for that is that I think that the current situation that we're in means that if anything is going to come down harder, it will probably be the IBEX. So I'm not saying that the Nasdaq is going long. What I'm saying is that the Nasdaq is probably a little bit more protected than the IBEX is. So I'm effectively trading the spread rather than the actual movement of one over the other necessarily. Of having taken a position in the Nasdaq necessarily. So yeah, that's where it's all come in play, mate. Anyway, so I will leave this one do its thing, and I will come out of the position when I can, when it's safe. Yes, it absolutely is. You're right, Lewis, and it, you know, I was only looking for a short-term move. I'm not looking for anything major here. I think the Nasdaq is trapped in a diamond. You're absolutely right, but because you know what we've really got right now is a situation where this is the pattern that Lewis is talking about. What we've got right now is a story, if you like, in a position where the travel sector is again in trouble, and the travel sector is best expressed really from our end when it comes down to an indice with the Spanish economy and the Spanish indice. So I'm just playing the story, you know, for a short period of time. I'm not sure whether the Nasdaq can break out of this, so I was just going to trade to the high and then close it off. You know, it's a really short-term speculative trade. And I don't think the Nasdaq is breaking higher necessarily. We've got Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen out again later on, and that will probably bob these markets around. But I do think that there was probably a short-term play to be had, and you know, the way the Nasdaq's going, it looks like it probably would have worked out as well. You know, there's I think at times you can play the story, and it's probably, to be honest, it's probably a little bit late. You know, when we look at the SPA. Well, even in saying that, if this was to come down, the SPA is probably coming down a bit further. But if we look at the SPA, then we've seen it come down and down and down. Now we're on Wednesday, so really Monday was the day to get this trade on, because it was that news over the weekend. And if we measure this down, we are down currently around about 170 points on that, or 170 pips, which is it's around about, what would that make it? It's a 2% drop. That's a 2% drop down since we opened up on Monday in the IBEX. And now if we look at Monday, what happened on Monday? This is the Nasdaq. Actually, the Nasdaq is long, you know, since Monday. So this would have been a great spread trade. You know, if we'd taken this out on Monday, this would have been a great spread trade. So I'm a little bit late to the party, to be honest. But I thought there might be just a little bit more of a squeeze that we could have taken, and I still think that's probably the case. So yeah, so that was the trade, mate. That was the plan. It hasn't quite worked out in the way that I wanted because, as I say, I made those calculations slightly wrong. But I'll fix it up and I'll think of something else. But this particular event and story is probably gone. But you can do that quite a lot. You know, that is just one of the things that I quite like to do. You know, just check out the macro over the weekend, and think about which indice that will probably affect. And also, we had Jerome Powell and Yellen, I think yesterday, saying that the inflation picture is not the inflation picture is not going to be that bad. They, you know, and the market appears to agree right now. We've seen gold continue to struggle. Really, you know, we had this potential bottom down here, but this has really struggled, and we're seeing the same with silver. So that's another aspect of the story, is that we've got this inflation picture, which just isn't at this stage, certainly by the central bank and Janet Yellen, isn't really being kind of talked up. You know, they're saying that there will be a little bit of pricing pressure early doors, but then it's going to fade away. So
actually, that's a good point. Do you think that is rhetoric or is it real? And how do you judge that?
That's a good point, mate. Because really, when it comes down to it, these two are very, very clever people. So they know. They probably, nobody really knows, I suppose. But you would think that they would have as good a grasp on this as any other of the economists that are on either side of the argument. So it does depend. You know, is it rhetoric? That's really the big question. It's not really whether they believe it. It's whether the market believes. Does the market believe what they are portraying? You know, so.
Ash, perception.
Yeah, and what would, I mean? Well, yeah, it's the perception, isn't it? But they will have a pretty good grasp in it, wouldn't you think, Ainsley? Or, you know, if inflation's going to be coming back hard, they know what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been announced that inflation. Sorry, I'm being a voice in the background. Sorry, I went for a run before.
Did you have your galoshes on?
I wish I could send you pictures. I went to Centennial Park and I did a lap of Centennial Park this morning, and it was underwater and you couldn't walk on the path around the Centennial Park's a big park in Sydney, and you walk around this beautiful paved footpath, and the ducks were enjoying the footpath. So it's been a little soggy.
I'm sure.
We've had 7 days of torrential rain.
Oh, wow.
Yes, torrential rain. Like they had to let some water out of Warragamba Dam, which is the main feeder for Sydney for water supplies, and they let out the equivalent of Sydney Harbour.
Oh, geez.
So we're a little bit soggy. But today was the first day of sunshine in 7 days, and everybody was out and about and trying to get some fresh air, and we couldn't because the flooding was still everywhere. So yeah, it was very damp, but you know, that's better than chard. We've done chard. We did chard last year. At the moment we're doing soggy. So you know,
done parched.
We did parched,
charred, soggy.
Well, you know,
and then someone decided to throw a pandemic in the middle of that.
I was going to say, and put a pandemic in the middle. So you know, we're a sunburnt country, are we not, Jeff?
We are indeed. You'll notice that I have a hoodie on at the moment.
Yeah, it's been 30 degrees here today. So after having 7 days of very cool and wet weather, it's been 30 degrees today. So, you know.
Bit steamy, mate, I reckon.
Did you hear in the news that all the the rafts when they're going in to pick up people were having trouble. They go into areas to pick up people in remote areas, and by the time they bundle people up, snakes were jumping into the raft because
Oh,
it was
nice.
the only dry
Nice.
place.
Yeah. No, I haven't heard that. I didn't see that on the news yet. But
No, it made the news.
yeah.
Made the news.
Youch.
The snakes jumping into the life rafts because it was dry. Apparently the rats didn't quite make it in, but the snakes apparently are a little more resourceful. Can't wait to visit. Can you, Ash?
For me, I'm out of the boat. I'm somewhere else. Yeah,
Anyway,
look, we've had
feedback.
beautiful weather down here, Lewis. There's no question about that. It's been absolutely fantastic. 25 degrees every day, sunshine, and today they've shared a little bit of the water. It's come down, so we're having a little bit of that. Hi, SF. Good to see you in as well. So, Ainsley, what do you make of all this? We've got I think we've got a breakout on the dollar now. How's that going to affect
We've
gold and oil?
definitely had a breakout in the dollar, haven't we? But seriously, why hasn't gold and silver followed suit?
Yeah.
So seriously, I could have stabbed my hand for the last couple of weeks, my left hand with a blunt fork with gold. I counted, it was just a series of a couple of inside bars, then followed by an outside bar and another outside bar, then a couple of inside bars. And it drove me absolutely bonkers. And it's not doing anything. And even though, if you could, Ash, could you just chuck up the gold chart, please?
Yeah, sure.
So the gold chart, you can see there was a bit of a push up. If you drop down to a 4-hourly chart,
It's definitely tried, isn't it?
It tried. Okay, so that big spike, that was Fed Pals, and that was. But look where it is. It's straight back into that huge box. That box that goes just.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
You mean this one here?
Yeah. You can even go all the way back a bit more to your left as well. Yeah, keep it going. Look at that. In through there.
Yeah.
It just is a nightmare.
It's a horrible box as well. I can't even trade that.
It's a horrible box because just when you think it's breaking out of a smaller box, because you do tend to go looking for these things, it's just not there. And you've got to be cool and calm and just, I don't know. I was talking to Jules the other day and I said, because I kept hearing this thwack. I said, are you at the driving range? He goes, maybe. I said, you're worse than a teenage kid, honest to God. It's a yes or no kind of question,
Well, so he's frustrated as well, is he?
He said there's nothing to trade.
Yeah.
Now, last night, different story. The US dollar has strengthened and everything seems to have dropped in comparison. But is that sustained? Is it sustained? Yeah, look at it.
Yeah.
It also is coming back into, actually, if you do a horizontal across where it is at the moment, Ash, look where it is.
Yeah.
Hello. It's just nutsos. And it's just like this. And it's just like, guys, you've got to remember you can't trade every day. Your setups aren't there every day. You've got to be patient. And that's what for somebody who trades 4-hourly daily and loves a good weekly trade, it's really tough. It's really on those commodities. Oil had a nice tank because it didn't like the news about Europe being sustained and with news of their lockdowns.
Yeah.
So they didn't. Oil hasn't liked it, and it's come flying back down. But
I quite liked oil for the short, but I didn't really sort of bank on it going straight away. I thought maybe we'd at least edge a little bit higher before we get it, which we might still do. I mean, it's under a bit of pressure, but it's bouncing back a bit today, isn't it? It's coming back a little bit.
It's bounced. If you drop down to a 4-hourly, that bouncing is quite. Look at it. It's flicking around like it doesn't know what it's doing. So I've tried to get into it to see if it is really ready to go, but it's flipped around so much. It's just, you go into a trade and you think, yes, okay, good, it's going. I can look at a pullback and then a retracement, and then we can do something with that. It's just not even doing that. Gold's worse. Silver is just as bad. But I don't know what to say.
So what do you do here, Angie? I mean, do you kind of get into gold and just stick with a position for a long period? So change your timeline, because it's going to move eventually, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't stay in these boxes forever.
But I haven't seen a good setup yet, Ash. I have not seen a good setup. If you go to a daily on gold, sorry, I'm flicking you around.
That's okay.
A daily on gold. Look at that. Sorry. What do you trade? You can't trade anything there. The next big one, is July for the big move. Big move, July through August.
Yeah,
that's the big move.
Beautiful little confluence there. I'm trading that bounce off the bottom of that range up to there. That looks good to me.
Funnily enough, when I was talking to Jules the other day, Jeff, your name did come up, and he said, "We've got to be little Jeffs. We've got to go into range trading." I was just like, I know, but I can't do it because I keep looking for the breakout of that box, and it's not. It's bouncing off that area. And look, I don't play golf, and at the moment, even if I did, we couldn't go out in the rain anyway, because you can't even get to the driving range because half of Sydney's flooded. But it's just, you can't trade that. It's been like that for a good couple of weeks. Okay, we've had it at this drift down, but as soon as you get into a drift down, it's not giving you anything substantial to go with. I like to see something really solid on higher time frames, and I just haven't got it. It's really, really this is where we've got to have the patience.
Yeah.
And it's just, and yeah, I could do that, Jeff. I could go into it, but it's not the way I trade, and that's the fastest way to get clipped and to lose money.
Oh, there's no entry there. That's the problem.
There's absolutely nothing. Like I said, I probably should be stabbing my left hand with a blunt fork instead of actually trading that. Or, but patience. It's all about patience, yeah. So no, there's nothing there to trade on a daily. You just shoot yourself. There was some commentary about gold's had a surge. I think somebody was just so eager for it to bounce from somewhere. On the inflation story, I was just like, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I keep hearing as well. There are people that obviously just kind of want gold to pick itself up.
Yeah, they wanted to pick it up and be the hedge and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
and it's just not doing it. And even though this is XAU/USD, and we've seen you just pulled up the US dollar chart, and we can see quite clearly if you're trading pound or euro or Aussie or Swissy or whatever, you're trading a major, you can see it's trying its hardest to really push up from those bottom levels. But,
well, do you know what I find quite interesting about this as well, Angie, and I would have thought that if gold is going to strengthen, it will probably come into this area here. It'll probably come into this area here, and then attempt to make something which looks like a genuine bottoming pattern. So around about the 94.50. That's not gold, sorry, the dollar. The dollar.
I was going to say we're not on the gold anymore.
Yeah.
And Lewis, it looks like it's trying to push higher, and I think there is a lot of sentiment above with that at the moment. But at the moment, it hasn't got above 1750. It can't. It gets to 1740, 1745, and then we have this massive backdrop down to, today it was at 1728. So it's just,
look at this though. I mean, I think this is quite interesting. If you look at gold versus the Aussie, it's in a it is starting to edge higher. You look at it against the Swissy, it's edging higher. You look at it against the pound, it's edging higher. So the dollar is the thing that is caging. When we look at gold, we're not getting a genuine overview here. What's happening is that the dollar is strengthening, but actually gold itself, globally, is starting to kind of like edge higher, but the dollar just happens to be stronger. I think it's probably, Jeff will correct me on this potentially, but it's probably the strongest currency of the majors right now.
The dollar absolutely is.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So we are seeing that dollar strength come into play, but gold itself, is okay. It's, you know, it's not too bad. You know, as I say, you look at it against the pound, and there is a potential for this one to go quite a bit higher. You know, maybe up to 13.25.
Yeah.
It's currently at 12.63. So that's got a chance of going quite a bit higher. And it may well do that against, you know, all other currencies, but against the dollar, it's, you know, at this stage it's struggling.
But the main one is against the US dollar. And
the main one is, but we're all aren't we all in agreement that the US dollar is the retracement is probably all it is? I mean, you know, are we really expecting this US dollar to start turning around, or are we just looking for this as a short-term move to the upside, and then it's as you were, and we see the dollar, you know, coming back down again?
Yeah,
that's
where I am.
Dollar, as you were.
Yeah.
Get back down there. You have got ridiculous inflation.
Look at that though. I mean, you know, this is the 1st of May 2011. There's the trend line, you know. So on the, and this is a monthly chart. So when we start looking at this, the dollar doesn't look like it's got that much to go. When you look at some of those longer term moves, you know, this is the same trend line actually. So you know, it's technically speaking the dollar's going to struggle, you know, if we're looking at these technical charts and technical patterns. I wonder whether we're completely done here. With
I think it's going to have its day in the sun. Now it's broken out of that range. I think they'll get into it for a day or so.
But look how long this took, though. You know, we're looking at December 2020 before really, you know, it was 3 months before this one started to move to the upside. And this is what I'm talking about with gold. Do you start going, let's start building a position here? Because yes, okay, it might take a few months, but at least I'm getting in at you know, a potential bottoming area, or are you just, you know, is it just a waiting game until you see exactly what it is you know? Are there any small speculative positions that you would take in this area?
Not quite in that area.
Okay.
And if I drop down to a 4-hourly chart, I'm still not seeing it, because that bottom level of that box is quite strong. Actually, we're talking, Jules and I were talking about the euro pound the other day, and he's going, I want to go long, I want to go long. And I said, well, it's got to go long because it's touched 85, 55, 19 times on the 4-hourly chart. It clearly doesn't want to go any shorter. And you've got a similar situation here with gold, where it comes back down, but it won't go any lower. And we've got a progression of higher highs, higher lows, as sick as they are and as stretched out as they are. It is a waiting game, and until I can get something a little bit finer that I can get in on. And yeah, I hear what you're saying as far as going in and being prepped so that I can then scale in and add to that position. Not in that. I mean, look, Fred Powell spoke, and it was just like, you got whiplash.
What about on that chart? Just, and we're all geniuses in retrospect, of course. I mean, up until the consolidation that's been going on since the second higher low off the bottom, would that not be a buying opportunity, the second higher low? Because it looks very much like a sentiment cycle right there, and that looks like an aversion point to me. Yet it hasn't followed through.
And yes, I did my dough on it, thinking it was. So there you go. It wasn't Harry Hindsight's account. It was my money, and I lost some. So that's what I'm saying. I'm getting.
Oh, you traded that higher low?
I tried to trade the higher low. I tried to trade the first retracement. I tried to trade the bottom coming off it, and I was doing really okay. And then tried to add to it, and then it came screaming back down on me as well. So, yeah. What do you know?
It hasn't played out.
It's not being very kind at all. It's really tough at the moment. So that's why I'm just sitting out at the moment. And for me, Ash, if I go in and just hold, I've got to watch my holding costs as well, given the size of some of the trades I put on it. My holding costs can actually cut into it. So it becomes becomes a strategic play rather than just in and out for a couple of hours. So I've got to be really, really careful of that and mindful of that, especially trading other people's money. It's I've got to keep the overheads low.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That raises a point. Has gold versus, or is gold versus anything a positive swap ever?
Positive?
The swaps, you know,
Saying,
the
what's
swaps.
Oh, the swap.
Yeah.
Oh, the holding costs.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I look at gross profit less holding costs and net profit, and you're never going to win with a broker, are you? It's like, you've got to pay the piper somewhere along the line.
Well, there used to be a thing called interest rate differential, which
The carry
used to be
trade.
a calculation.
Yeah, not on gold.
But it used to be that if you were in a positive interest rate differential, your swap would be positive.
There used to be. Do you know, I've traded with a couple of brokers, and it didn't seem to matter which way that went. It was always negative. Have you?
Yeah, I had that.
Well, it is now, I can tell you. But I've actually managed to find one. We've been in a trade for 2.5 months now, and we're getting positive swaps. First time I've seen it for ages.
Yeah, when you consider some of the interest rates are negative, they've really, where do you go with that? But yeah, with gold, no, and the same with oil. You just have to wear it. And what, you argue with a broker and you say you're going to take your money, and you got to go set up a new account. And I've already got 3 accounts running at the moment, so that can do my head in. So, cost of doing business. You just have to.
Do you ever get out of that? Well, I know you do, but are you at the moment trading anything other than gold and oil? Or
Gold and
not
oil.
that you're trading them because
I did.
Up, but...
Yeah. I tell you what I did the other day. I did a pound short, and the euro yen long after. And Jules and I were discussing it. I said, Jules, it's going long. It's got to go long. It's bouncing up. And he said, I'll have a look at that when I get back from the driving range. Important things. So we both.
I used to be him.
Sorry?
I said I used to be him.
Did you?
5 days a week I played golf. Absolutely.
Ah. Well, ours would be more of a thwack splosh kind of sound
At the moment it would. There's a thing called aqua golf,
I mean, once upon a time I used to be on a yacht a lot, but you can do that as well. Smack it off the back of the yacht.
That's polluting the ocean.
Oh, no, you can get biodegradable golf balls, by the way.
Golf balls, right? Happy days. Ash.
Well, I was just going to say. So we've looked at gold and silver a little bit, and I think we've got to bring Bitcoin back into play as well, because as the other the potential hedge for inflation. Yeah, having a great day today. Now, I don't know whether off the back of news today that Elon Musk said that he will now accept Bitcoin as payment for Tesla. Bitcoin.
Did you do that a couple of weeks ago, though, Ash?
I'm not sure whether he announced that he was considering it, and now they've managed to set it up. But it looks like that story has now progressed a little bit, and I think before he said he would. That's what he would consider doing, but it seems like now that particular payment system's in play, and we are seeing a push in Bitcoin. So, interesting kind of balance between the two in some respects. You see Bitcoin moving in one direction, and you see gold and oil both moving in opposite directions. So, if there's any kind of play for Bitcoin being some kind of inflation hedge, it's not really looking like it's playing out, because if inflation isn't coming, then why would people be buying Bitcoin? But the Bitcoin story still holds pretty tight, and again, this one's in a bit of a tight range as well. I mean, I've kind of been looking at Bitcoin repeatedly, and it's held through here again. It needs to break down.
Have you traded Bitcoin technically, Ash?
I have tried, mate. I have tried. Yes.
That sounds like it wasn't such a good idea.
Do you know? No. All that but what the trade wasn't allowed. They didn't put it on. I think I miscalculated margin or something like that. So I kept getting that distorted noise that you get on on MT4 when the trade doesn't go through.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's like me with that silver trade, was it? When I thought I was trading like $5 a pip, and
exactly,
I was, whatever they are, I'm trading 100.
Exactly.
Yeehaw!
And I exactly. And I was trying to.
House.
It was
That's
a
why
trade
I don't trade.
go on.
So I can't work it out.
The trade I was doing was it needed to go on there and then. So when I got the kind of Space Invader noise, I stopped. I was like, okay, let's move on to something
I
else.
wish I'd got the Space Invader noise.
Yeah, I bet you do.
I got invaded, but it certainly was,
Yeah.
it wasn't in the right space, I can tell you.
Yeah. So I've tried maybe, but I've not done it. But you know, I'm watching Bitcoin because there is a stock that I want to buy that effectively is a Bitcoin farmer. Now this is the thing with cryptos. You know, for the last 3 years, everybody's been telling me how volatile and how great cryptos are to trade because they're so volatile. So I'm looking for a genuine dip. Now the company I'm looking at is a company called Argo Blockchain, and they are currently at £2.30. Now I'm looking for a move down to around about £1.60, which is obviously a pretty seismic drop. We're looking at 30% a drop to the downside. But everybody told me these cryptocurrencies are really volatile. And well, if they're volatile, I should get that 160. But over the last probably certainly since the start of this year, I don't even think you could call this particularly volatile. Okay, I mean it's a bit of a jump to the downside, but it comes to it is. I mean, okay, it is a jump. Okay, it's a 10% drop, but
Yeah.
that compares pretty closely to what happened with the Nasdaq and many of the others as well. So I don't think that was it wasn't enough for me.
Yeah, my contra to that is the Nasdaq and the S&P and everything else have underlying assets. This doesn't.
Yep.
And a lot of this is bounced off tweets or Elon Musk saying, or Elon Musk, granted he has a bit of pull in this area. It's one company director.
Well, yes, but you know what? That's where it starts, isn't it? And I suppose that's the
but to move the market that much, yeah, really.
Well, I mean, I think it could be, for maybe this is where the volatility argument does come in.
There's the volatility.
Yeah, which is fair enough, and I think when it comes down to it, Elon Musk being, I don't know if he's still the richest man in the world. That seems to the baton seems to change on a weekly basis at the minute. But yeah, but you got the richest man in the world possibly coming out and saying that he is now accepting payments. That means that there is potentially going to be at least a trickle down of other companies that are also prepared to accept payments in Bitcoin. So it's not just any old dude saying it. If you see what I mean, he's an important player. And of course he's going to accept payments in Bitcoin. He just bought $1.5 billion of them, so he spent $1.5 billion on Bitcoin. Of course he's going to do everything in his power now to effectively talk up the use of it.
Sorry, could you call that almost a conflict of interests?
Yeah, you probably could. You probably could. But you know what I find interesting about Elon Musk is he is the ultimate. He's the ultimate disruptor. He's come out with Tesla, which has disrupted the market. Now he's saying, I will accept payment in Bitcoin, which is disrupting the financial, potentially could disrupt the financial markets, because that's the whole thing with these cryptocurrencies. They are going to tear down the walls of the financial system if they penetrate deeply enough into everyday life. And it doesn't seem to me like it's that far away. You got something like Elon Musk doing it. I bet the government and the Fed are sweat. Every time he tweets or every time he's kind of getting involved somewhere along the line, they're just they must be sweating.
Undue influence.
What's that? Sorry.
It's called undue influence. And Lewis just made the point. Wouldn't the SEC actually look into it? Didn't he get his wings clipped not so long ago for making a tweet about something similar.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about Bitcoin per se. I'm talking about he's using his position for influence.
Yes.
Have you heard? Did anybody see the Bloomberg interview with the PayPal CEO and the Citibank CEO
No.
regarding
Not me.
regarding Bitcoin? PayPal had been asked, the same thing regarding are they going to start accepting Bitcoin as payment? And they said it's too volatile. It moves around too much. You can't actually lock in a price and end up somebody thinking that they're paying $25 for a pizza and end up spending $1,025.
Yeah.
They said they can't do it. The parameters and the technology needed to actually control this kind of thing. And they said PayPal was saying they can't use Bitcoin for the reason of the volatility. They just can't do it. Citibank said a similar thing. So if you saw those interviews, then you'd understand where that goes, and you understand where it's going to with this. Is it an inflation? Is it an alternative to an inflation hedge like gold has traditionally been? Possibly. It's hoping to be something like that. However, I think it's got a few more hurdles to get through. And one of the things is another Citibank investor and analyst and Bank of America, I think it was Bank of America, was saying the same thing. It was, we can't in all consciousness put investors' money into something that moves around on the basis of a tweet.
Yeah. I hear your point, Ainsley, and that's really fair. I suppose my one question would be, as the price gets higher, the volatility will potentially get ironed out a bit, because there are only certain players that are then able to kind of like get involved. And when prices are low, there's just not the liquidity there. But as the liquidity starts to pick up, and you got a $1 trillion market cap right now, so as that becomes 1.5, 2 trillion, whatever it gets to, the volatility, I would have thought, would get ironed out because the liquidity is starting to get there a bit more. Is that not a fair point to make?
It is, but the contrary to that is, Ash, then people who are trading this on spot now, because it's becoming more and more popular as a spot trading, you trade it as a spot commodity or financial asset, right?
Yep.
So that's where the volatility also will exponentially grow.
Mm-hmm.
You got people now becoming, because it's got a little bit more happening to it because the price is higher, right? So it's going to attract general market interest from different facets.
Yeah.
And you've had over the last 6 months, over the last 12 months, a lot of people piling into it. But look at the volatility of the moves over the last 6 months. Look at those moves compared to the previous 12 months.
Yeah.
Okay? So it goes up, comes flying back down. It whipsaws around all over the place. And that's people piling in as more and more brokers make it. Look at it. I mean, would you touch it before? Not really. It was dead as a dodo. And then you got these moves in the last 6 months as people are piling in. Brokers are now putting it more on their platforms. It's accessible to retail traders. It's now getting a little bit more popularity, if you like. And that's where your volatility comes, as people also react to news. Now, I completely get gold and oil is very sensitive to particularly oil. The European countries are extending their lockdown, and oil drops. It just drops, and those kind of things will impact the market because they're just seeing how that goes with longer term. But this is Elon Musk. People look at Dogecoin, any of those smaller ones. The volatility is, and it all comes under that one umbrella, isn't it? Really, if it's not Bitcoin, it's Ethereum. If it's not Ethereum, it's Litecoin, and they're considered the major ones until you find the one that finally takes off. And as Shukri said, you take $1,000 and turn it into $360,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Fantastic.
Thank you, Angel, by the way. I gotcha.
Yeah. So
we'll get out of here, don't worry.
Yeah. Anyway, we could talk all night, and I keep doing that, but yeah, that's where the volatility.
Well, that's what you're here for, Ainsley.
Oh.
The glass is empty though.
Oil, Bitcoin, why Bitcoin? But yeah, I've been doing a bit of research into Bitcoin because I'm trying to work out whether I learn to trade it as an alternative commodity or not. But anyway.
I think it's got to be in the portfolio personally. I think if we don't have it somewhere in there, and I'm not talking about 50% allocation, but I think cryptocurrencies have to be in the portfolio just because that's either where we're going or certainly where we are. So I think it's worth it, Ains. I think you should sharpen your teeth, and Jeff and I will pick your brain on it next week. I'm sure you can do enough study by then.
I'll sharpen my teeth now that I've done the parent things and parenting things for the last couple of weeks. So yeah, excuse my absence there.
Interesting subjects they were that you were telling me about.
Yeah, Jeff was very excited about them. Anyway, we must get out of here.
And yeah, don't get me started. It's just like...
We must get out of here because there's another show not too far away. We got a little bit of time. Actually, Jeff, did you want to go around the grounds before we do that?
Yeah, not really. There are only two things I'm looking at, and they're both the ranges that we've got. So let's have a quick look at that. There is a high risk entry if you want to take it now. I'm not going to. It is short dollar Sing on the hourly chart underneath that bar there. But look at the monsters that it's got as company. I can't trade that bar in this company. It's crazy because if you enter here, it takes 5 or 6 pips and you're out very, very quickly. So what I'm doing is waiting for the current hourly bar or the next hourly bar after that, doesn't really matter, or then we go to 4 hours. But I need to see this happen. And if I do see this happen, not that I'll probably be in front of the charts because I'm only spending a very small amount of time in front of the charts at the moment. If I were to see this bar or the next, as long as we stay above this trend line, come underneath here and then retest that area, or even better still, any one of these horizontal levels, that one, nice confluence, I like it. Maybe that one there can come up to there. There's a short available here, in my humble opinion. As I said, if you want to take a super high risk trade, you could take it now. And there's your target. But same applies if we get under here, much safer conveyance. If we get under here and retest that with a decent size bar, not a little tiddler like that, then I think that's a reasonable trade. Your target's down here. Your TP1 is here. Pretty clear. That is dollar Sing. And the other one that's ranging is pound Swissy, I think, from memory. Let me get rid of all that.
That's a cousin trade to the euro pound.
That's right, yeah. And how's that doing today?
Where are we? Pound Swissy. Oh, come here. Pound Swissy. Okay. Now, I was wanting to trade this earlier as a higher low in here, and we do have that, but we've still got the daily pivot dead ahead. It hasn't cracked through that yet. We've come this side, but we haven't gone that side. So the potential here is for this to go bang, bang with trend, I suppose. So that's the issue getting in right now. Otherwise, that bar there was a beauty to trade. It's kind of still there. But can I get profit in the bank before I hit the daily pivot? I don't think so. So the risk is going to have to be 26 pips. And I've only got 7 to there. After that, it opens up. 2 to 1 to there. No, I'll leave it, but it probably will be too late to get the 4-hour version of it. Maybe. No, I can't see an entry there either, really. Bit of a shame. We might have to get back in here, come back and hit the daily pivot from the upside, then get our higher low in this vicinity. I think that's probably the way to go. Let it break the daily pivot, come back and retest it, give us a higher low there, then we can trade it long. You've got to take profit before the weekly pivot, get safe, and I don't see any reason why you would want to trade through that at the moment. Still overbought, in my humble opinion, so that's going to be your target, I reckon, if you can get into that one. The rest, they're gone too far, guys. They've really gone too far. Everything else has broken the range, and I'm not too interested, to be honest.
No, go to the golf course.
Beg pardon?
Go to the driving range.
Yeah, I can't anymore. I'm beyond it.
Oh.
The back won't let me.
Oh.
Gonski. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but you know, that's the way it goes.
19th
Beg pardon?
hole. You could always go to the 19th hole on the golf course.
I used to own that,
The 19th
so
hole.
I don't need to go back there. That's over and done. My 19th hole is at home now. Once the bamboo's done for the day and this show's done for the day, I'm pretty much done for the day as well. So we better get out of here, guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
we had. Thank you so much, Ainsley. Always
You're welcome, guys.
fascinating and great to get some insight into gold and oil, particularly every week. I will see you in the morning, Jeff. I don't know what we'll be discussing. Anybody wants to come on tomorrow? Maybe might. Yeah,
Lewis. We owe Lewis an appearance. We're going to talk to him last Thursday.
Oh, we do. Yes, we do. Of course we do. Yeah, yep. Lewis, tomorrow, mate. Yeah, if you're up for it. We are. Yeah, you will be the guest of the day if you fancy it, mate.
There's that memory, sharp as a bowling ball.
Always has been. Right, I will see you all in the morning. Thanks, Jeff.
Bye,
see you next week, Ainsley.
Have a great.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, hey. Have a great hump day, guys, and we'll see you on the other side.